Hello, hello, hello. This is Lorenzo. I am the conversational magician. I'm here to positively inspire and motivate people all over the world. So, this is just another aspect of my personal views on my life experiences and some of my philosophies that will motivate and encourage everybody out there just to accomplish their own dreams and desires with no apologies. So recently, I was searching through the net, through Facebook. You can check me out, Lorenzo Young Untouchable, on Facebook. But I was on one of my fan pages, and just recently, one of my friends, a good mentor of mine, Mr. Clay, started a podcast. It's VibeLifeorg. And I've been listening to it for a few weeks, going over it. And they have a Mostly Miles podcast section on there. And what they do is they go on a journey to test the limits of beliefs, or what they say, going down the rabbit hole. And I would say it's more of principles of mastery, of how to gain a better perspective of your life. But they definitely help you get up to speed with the specific vernacular of metaphysics, how to create your reality through the form of law of attraction, how to be more positive and being really what God created you for, and that is to be the ultimate expression of Him in this reality. So they really do understand the importance of time management, I realized, and they invoke the listener with some real good critical thinking. So they go over some terms like all that is God, which is like the sum total of our beliefs and feelings is our feeling tone. Because what our beliefs are, we interpret reality a certain way, and through that interpretation causes some sort of feeling or vibration in us. So I was listening to specifically one of the podcasts that was on. It's number 17, Ripping Apart Relationships. And Clay allowed Miles to take the form, and somewhere around like minute 9:40, 9 minutes and 40 seconds in, I want to say Miles made like the observation that there's no greater intimacy between people than the belief that they are each other. So I had to start thinking about my own relationships. And when I started looking at my own relationships, I realized that that's right. When I start looking at other people, or the person I'm in a relationship with, or the people I'm in relationships with, just as myself, I can come through for them with more compassion and love, and because I hold myself at a higher esteem, if that makes sense. Now, during this podcast session, a discussion, there was a question asked that was left unanswered, and that question was, why do the feelings dissipate with time? Talking about relationships, like why do the feelings of love dissipate with time? Clay asked Miles this, and Miles gently and humbly refused to answer that question. So I would definitely suggest anybody that went to go to VibeLife.org wanted to check out any of the previous podcasts and or the podcast leading up to now of you seeing this video review, then definitely it'll get you up to speed and maybe get some of your questions answered, because it left me with a cliffhanger. I really wanted to hear more. They definitely had me continuously just falling down that proverbial rabbit hole, so to say. So Clay went on to explain the feelings of what we all have felt, or describing what falling in love is and what happens when we first fall in love, and how we feel so connected with the other person, and how we feel that they understand us unconditionally. Also how we feel when they have lived similar lives as we have, and we just feel so intimately connected with them, and how that is a truth. And I was able to easily identify with that, having been have loved and fell in love before. So that question was something that really was impactful and had me wanting really some more. So I would definitely give them an A+ in having and catching the audience of at least myself, or catching my attention and really wanting to go on and listening to some more of the podcast. Then around 11 minutes and 30 seconds in, Miles defines relationships, and how we define relationships as it was like a laboratory of the spirit, like hospitals of the soul. And I could understand that, because when you're in a relationship, the person that you're in the relationship with, they're a reflection of you. So then those things that you get back to you, or you see that you may not like from them, is really something that you can investigate in yourself to create, or to change, or develop in yourself, since truly they're just really a reflection of you. And it can be something that you can build on, and that's what relationships are for. And mostly because we do experience everything on the outside of us, which is a part of us, so we get to work on those things. He also described relationship as places where wounds are brought up and are healed, and I was also able to easily identify with that, since being close with somebody else in a relationship, you're able to talk about things and bring up things that may have hurt you from your past experiences and other relationships. And that's something that Miles definitely made a point to make clear for the listener, that the only thing that matters in our experiences and out of any of our experiences are through our relationships. So that the only thing that matters is our experiences, and our experiences through our relationships. And I was like, damn, right, because no man is an island. We all have somebody we're going to want to value, have similar common belief systems, be able to see different worlds in similar circumstances, because it's called relationships. It's a way of being able to relate and build and go somewhere like a ship would on a journey through life. So that's what relationships are, and that was a good way that how he defined it. So also they explained that from our now and our present, we can also create our past and our future. Because right now, if I tell you about my past, I'm telling you from the way that I perceive that in my own mind right now. So the only time anything really exists is when we focus on it. So we can truly change our focus and we change our reality. Also, VibeLife.org, the podcast that I was listening to, number 17, Ripping Apart Relationships, they were talking about being in a place that always feels good. And being in a relationship, you always understand that you want to feel good, right? You want to feel good. That's why you in the relationship, because it feels good. The other person is making you feel good. So somewhere around 18 minutes, 50 seconds, they were also talking about everything that is in our physical reality is reflecting our expectations back to us. And our expectations are a direct result of our belief. And it made me think for a moment. What is it that I really believe when I'm in a relationship with the people I'm in? And what do I expect from that person? Have you ever been in a relationship and you expected that person to, let's say, bring you some flowers or be nice to you and buy you something or help you out on a bill or anything like that? You expected something, right? That's what they were talking about on this podcast, that we get exactly what we expect, that everything is everything, everything is love, and everything is all that is. Then Miles went ahead and offered an exercise. It was from like a book of positive aspects. You know, he was talking about how if bad people or bad things start showing up in your life, it's just as simple as changing your belief, a different way of changing your perspective. I've had bad shit happen to me in my life, so I can definitely recognize when those bad things was happening. I was just changing my ideas or the way I believed about the bad thing or what I perceived to be bad at that time and made it good. And the way I made it good was to change my thoughts. And then once I changed my thoughts, I started feeling good. And it was just another whole nother cycle of feeling good, even though maybe somebody on the outside looking in would have said like, damn, that's a bad situation you in. So yeah, he did offer a good exercise on this this session of the podcast. Then he brought up something that's really good, what I do for myself, and I was able to easily connect and identify with the reasoning of this exercise. And he was saying that when you are in a place that feels bad, sad, gloomy, or even happy, this is something that I recognize I start doing myself. When you're feeling good and happy, ask yourself, what would I have to believe in order to feel the way I do right now? And once you answer that question for yourself, you're able to find out in a deeper tone what your belief system is. See, because I've always had that philosophy, my damn self, that the best way to get the best answers is to ask the best questions. But, you know, that's just my own little personal game, you dig? So they also say that game is to be sold and not told. And that is definitely true. So just consider this more of a marketing tool. Also, they was able to talk about how our feelings are just a message telling us we need to change our beliefs. So, in changing our beliefs, we then change our feelings. And in our feelings being changed, we then have a different expectation of what we're going and should get from life, which will change our reality. So overall, I would say that this VibeLife.org podcast has been something worth listening to, something of value that would raise your own personal energy, something that would provide you with some time to reflect on your own personal life, something that you may be able to use as a tool in your personal growth and development. So once again, like I said, game is to be sold, not told. This is just a marketing tool. Consider it like that, and I hope that it reaches somebody, encourages somebody that they can use it for themselves. Go check out VibeLife.org. You can also check out their webpage on Facebook. It's Vibe Life, VibeLife.org. So I'm out. Lorenzo.